Hello, StarCraft fans! This is Falcon Paladin coming to you with yet another daily Legacy of the Void upload, and today it's a game between Peppy and Neuro here on Ascension to Aiur, the latter edition. In the bottom right-hand corner of the map, we have the red Protoss player, Peppy, from Legacy Gaming. And in the top left-hand corner of the map, it is the blue Zerg player from Root Gaming, Neuro. So a ZVP here for you today on Ascension to Aiur, the latter edition. It's a GM level game as part of a replay pack that was sent out. So let's go ahead and see who will come out victorious. ZVP has been pretty difficult for Protoss for a while now. This is a GM level game. I'm expecting to see Hydras. I'm expecting to see Banelings. I'm expecting to see Peppy try to handle a lot of waves of stuff thrown at him, early Lings into Roaches, into Hydras, Ravagers, Mutalisks. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that Zerg can do to be aggressive these days. Photon Overcharge is gone, and I think that's a big part of it. I think a big part of it is that Protoss cannot rely upon Photon Overcharge. Whether or not you think it was a good ability and a good spell or not, it's gone, and it has affected the game for, I mean, big-time affectations here. Is that the right word? Big-time effects? I guess effects is the correct way to put that. Affectations is like feelings. Affectations of the heart. My expectations for you know no bounds. Things like that. I'm not sure I'm using that word correctly, but it's old-timey. It's like Victorian England. Old-timey as far as I know. One get expanding is Peppy walling off at the front here, which is a little bit risky against a Zerg player who's going to be assertive, but now that spawning pool is not even done yet for Neuro. His hatchery, not even done yet either, so can't do anything to stop this from happening. Expansion coming up from Peppy. It was not a Nexus first play. He's just playing this as standard as he can. And making a Cybernetics Core follow-up as well. Probe says, alright, where are you going, drone? Are you going to try to expand somewhere? Because my job is to stop you. Oh, the juke! The juke! The drone decides to come on up here, take his third base to the right. Instead of going south, it's really, I don't know, it's a question of preference here. This is pretty wide open and fairly difficult to defend, but the third base is too. It's a little bit narrower of a gap to defend right here as compared to the entire 180 degrees from this third base location. I think Peppy's happy with this. He likes that this third base is here rather than down at the south, and he'll roll with it. He'll make use of that later. It is going to be a Stargate opening out of Peppy. Possibly could be Oracle play. We haven't seen much effective Oracle play lately in the ZVP side of things, unfortunately. I mean, naming Oracles is good. It's more fun when they get a lot of kills instead of just turning into Revelation bots and not killing anything. The days when Oracles would get tons of kills because Zerg players hadn't figured out how to handle it yet. But the answer is Spore Crawler Queen. One Spore, one Queen per base. Oracle maybe will get 2 or 3 kills on the periphery, but just not really enough to pay for themselves, which is why they have to turn into Revelation bots. Because information is a way to pay for themselves. It is an Oracle here from Peppy. So we're going to name this Oracle, so we get the list on out here, Lucy Liu. Ah, Lucy Liu, an actress from the 90s and early 2000s. She's fun. She's a fun actress. I think she was in the reboot of Charlie's Angels, right? Her and Drew Barrymore and was it Cameron Diaz? I think it might have been Cameron Diaz. As a couple adepts shading their way on in to prepare for the arrival of the Oracle. Do you want to finish that transfer? Oh, the adepts want to finish that transfer. There's not a queen here. So these Lings actually, okay, doing more than they should, as it turns out. So, whoop, killing a drone or two before getting murdered by those Lings. Where the heck was the queen the whole time? Do you not have, how many queens? Only 2 queens for 3 bases. Okay, fair enough. I guess there's more on the way, but they just weren't there at the time. Spore Crawler coming on up here. Did that Overlord, did he scout this? No, he hasn't scouted the Stargate, but you gotta know. You gotta know it's coming. So this Oracle is where? Oracle's defending third base. See what I mean? Oracles are not fun anymore. Just making sure the third base goes down. Lings show up. Oracle says this. Lucy Liu says this is what I was made for. Is murdering all of these Zerglings so they can't take down this third base. I mean, it works, and you do get kills, right? 4 kills is fun, but killing drones is where it's at. Also, a bit of a Ling drop attempt here. Phoenix gets rid of the drop lord before he can drop his full complement of 8 Lings, but 6 Lings is still pretty scary. Especially with the speed. Going after these probes, run probes, get out of their probes, and the probes decide, okay, we can go back to work. The Lings are bothering our brothers in the natural base. Oh no, this is way too effective. Where are your units? Why are there not units defending? There are the Adepts. Adepts warping in and saying, get out of our house, Zerglings. You're not welcome here. But still going after more of these probes. That's going to be 5 probes killed. 5 drones down, too. But it is 63 to 57 Harvesters. Neuro's looking just fine when it comes to that sort of thing. Getting a lair at his natural base. Protoss player is sitting at 58 total supply. And going for a Templar Archives. Ooh, he's skipping Robotics Facility. I like it. I like it a lot. You do have to kind of worry about lurkers. Oh, no, you didn't skip it at all. It's right here. Yeah, I mean, okay, so make a Robotics Facility for observers, right? Just in case there's some kind of a crazy lurker push out of Neuro. He's on 3 bases. He can do pretty much whatever he wants right now. He's going for a Baneling Nest, which is to be expected. He's waiting for the lair to finish, and then he'll make some additional tech there as well. But for the time being, I mean, Peppy's all right. Peppy is down by 3 workers, but he's got his 3rd base up and running, and that's a big deal for Protoss these days. 4th base coming up for the Neuro down this left side, and he has just been not all that bothered. And leaving Zerg players alone is, again, a recipe for death. It can be. We'll see if that's what happens here with Peppy or not. Lings rolling on up. Going to try to do some stuff here at the 3rd base, but there's a lot of Adepts and an Oracle, so no. How about the natural base? Is this? No, there's a wall there too, and the Adepts can quickly shade over to defend. Baneling, though. Oh, a Baneling bust. At this stage of the game would be interesting. You could probably waddle Banelings in here, murder that Adept, and then splash damage these guys and cause some major problems for Peppy. But I think Neuro being a little bit more conservative than that. Yes, he got a Ling drop in. Phoenix shutting that down forever and ever, amen. But it looks like he just has map control with these Lings. I mean, it hurts. This number of Lings could also be drones. He could be sitting at, I mean, at least 20 more drones than he's at right now if he didn't have 26 Lings on the ground. But he's going to use them for attacking, which is good. If he just makes Zerglings for nothing, if you make them for defense and your opponent doesn't attack, it's bad. It is. You could be economically way ahead of where you are. But if you use them for attacking and you actually do some damage with them, that's good too. So those are your choices. Attack with them and do good things, or else defend with them and do good things. Having them sit here doing literally nothing for you is bad news bears. Such bad news. I can't shake the feeling he's going to try to Baneling bust this. Can't shake it at all. Ling's running in, seeing what are we dealing with? A single Adept. Seems like it's easy to get through. And they're going to go for it. Go, Lucy Lou. Take him out. Pulsar Beam. Engage. Not really engaging, are you? Nope. Oh, some Archons are out for Peppy. I like the Archon opening. I really love the Archon opening. Some Zealots trying to handle all of these Lings, going into the exact wrong position here. But Adept Archon doing fairly well for themselves. Losing one of them there, but 8 kills, 6 kills. Dropping it. Oh, actually getting picked up with a Warp Prism. Those were Zealots dying. Archons don't die. Archons with super awesome red glowing stuff with this War Chest 2 skin. Never die. Getting muscular augments is Neuro for his Hydras. Hydras are just a staple of every matchup for Zerg as of late. It's just if you want to win games, you make Hydras, as it turns out. More High Templar coming in for Peppy. Based on the fact there's no Storm, I feel like these are just Archons. Just a bit of an Archon push. And it sure looks like it is. 16 Lings coming in, more Banelings. The Banelings are mostly for the Adepts. Not so good against the Archons, but doing some damage is better than nothing, I suppose. Do you have an Observer to kill these Creep Tumors? I don't know that you do. But attacking on the Creep, the Lings are here. Good kiting, trying to avoid getting surrounded. Banelings actually exploding. Hydras from the backside, not getting attacked by the Archons, which is the key here. But now, actually taking a lot of straight-up damage from these Archons, forcing them to kite back. Queens accepting damage as well, tanking it and causing it. Zealots, charge lots on top of Hydras are actually okay. Banelings exploding from the bottom side as well, and somehow Peppy's winning this engagement, looking good despite the fact that he's on creep. The charge for the Zealots with a +1 attack is helping immensely there, and the Archons pulling back. Do you have an Observer? Tell me you have an Observer. You have an Observer. Where is it? It's sitting back here. No. You need to kill Creep Tumors. Either way, more reinforcements from the Neuro. Peppy deciding to retreat on back home. He used that opportunity to expand. He's got a 4th base up there in the top along the right side. Archon has 13 kills, but is not going to make it home. Sorry, Archon. You did your best. I appreciate it. Double robotics facility here from Peppy. What on earth are you doing with double robo facility? Going immortal. Going immortal. All right. This 4th base is in trouble. Peppy, save it. Save it with your Zealots, I guess. It's just, oh man, it's going to finish. It's finished. It's going to die. Go Oracle, use abilities. No, Lucy Lou, 8 kills, 4 hit points, almost dead. Too many Lings. Too many Lings, too many Hydras. Lucy Lou does end up going down here. Hydras don't have upgrades except for muscular augments, but it doesn't really matter is the question. Phoenix does some lifting on these Hydras to murder them. And Archons, can they hold this fourth base? This is a very desperate position right now for the Protoss player. He's got to keep this fourth if he wants to win this game. And he does manage to chase away Root Neuro temporarily here. It is 134 to 121 total supply. Neuro has the lead. APM for these players, 356 for Neuro, 243 for the Protoss player, which is definitely ample to win this game. Banelings have centrifugal hooks, which means they are ready to show up to the party now. Everybody's favorite sound. Everybody's favorite sound, except for Terran and Protoss players, which turns out is a lot of people. Fleet Beacon coming in from Peppy. Is he going to transition into Sky Toss? That would be a good move. Honestly, it would. Where did I see today? I saw a Twitch clip where somebody went Dark Templar against a Hydra army like this and did pretty well, actually. It was like a Dark Templar Zealot Phoenix kind of a thing. I don't know if there are Banelings out, how well that would do, but the Hydra's trying to finish off this fourth base. Banelings rolling into this mineral line. Goodbye, fourth base. Lings and Hydras stopping the army from protecting the fourth, and the fourth does go down. Good job by Neuro. Sending a distractionary force. That was beautiful. Banelings on top of all of those Zealots. They're gone. Immortal count very high right now, but again, against Hydras, okay, but not great. Okay, but not great. Archon, 4 kills, 5 kills, 7 kills. Really taking it to these guys. Finally, an Observer with this armor to get rid of that creep tumor. And this third base might be a little bit little pressured here. It is 142 to 132 total supply. Neuro's up. He's making additional Banelings. Got joining Zealots here for Peppy. Neuro has a 5th base up as well. Dang. Replanning his 4th like a good player. Is Peppy back home, continuing to work on those upgrades. Got that +3 ground weapons, which is nice. And resources lost at this point is 13,000 for the Zerg player and 9,000 for Peppy. So being cost efficient is Peppy, but he just hasn't really done enough damage to the economy of Neuro. He hasn't killed a base at this point. If you haven't killed a base for your opponent at the 12-minute mark, you're in for a long haul against a Zerg player. So Immortals on the ground. Got these High Templar, not turning them into Archons yet, but also not researching Storm. It's going to have to be Archons, and carrier production has begun for Peppy back in his main base. Now, Ling Hydra Baneling. I mean, who's surprised by this composition? Raise your hand. I don't see any hands. Okay, it's pretty good. It is pretty great, especially from the 9 to 12 minute mark. But then if you get enough carriers out as a Protoss player, suddenly the tide shifts. And suddenly your Ling Hydra Bane composition is not good enough. So there's a bit of a ticking clock for Neuro. He needs to get out there with his Lings, with his Hydras, kill a base, possibly kill 2, try to end this game now if he can. Oh, this wasn't open. Oh, he warps in his Zealot at the last second. Archons. Yeah, and Archons with +2 attack against Lings with no upgrades, right? They don't have... They got +2 attack, but no armor upgrades. And here comes the main force of Neuro's army here. Storm would be so good right now, but he's just not researching. Oh, he is researching Storm. He is researching Storm. Hooray, Peppy, doing all of the right things. Lings running in to the 3rd base location. Shield battery trying to keep these dudes alive. Cannon trying to do the same thing. We do have a Hydra attack into the main. Oh, the Artosis pylon depowering 4 gateways, a cybernetics core, and a robotics facility. What a ridiculous attack here from Neuro. Just snuck it in. Oh, and a free carrier. No, 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 no. Don't get the carrier. Run, carrier. Abuse the high ground. Oh, does manage to survive with 59 hit points. Just barely. Hydra's maybe a little bit too far in. We've got a Zealot warp in here inside the main base that is pulling back quite a bit of stuff too. I like this from Peppy. Keep the pressure on. Another Artosis pylon goes down. Warp Gate, Stargate, Forge. Pausing the +3 attack, but Zealots with charge and +2 attack. Pretty good against Hydras in confined spaces. Peppy going on the counteroffensive right now. Does he have enough to do this is the question. I don't know. This is so many Hydralisks. The Zerglings are a problem too. The Immortal count, great, but again, the Immortals are not good against Hydras. They're just not. If this was Roaches, it'd be a different story. Carriers trying to assist. They are going to force the Hydras back here, but again, Hydralisks with +1 attack and muscular augments pretty good against the carrier. Pretty darn good. All right, so replacing his pylons. So his stuff's repowered. Oh no, he didn't replace the pylon here. 2 warp gates are not powered, which is terrible. 165 to 144 total supply. Neuro has still not lost a base. I think he's going Greater Spire. Actually here at the 3rd base location, surrounded by 4 spine crawlers. I like this because really important tech structures for Zerg are easy to snipe down for those Zealot warp-ins, but if you've got 4 spines, it really slows down that process. It makes the Protoss player uncomfortable trying to snipe down those tech structures if they're protected by that much static defense. Even again, if the Zealots are upgraded and the static defense efficiency is not as good as it used to be, it's still better than nothing. And it's still better than having army units sitting back here because those take up supply. A couple changelings getting murdered. The sign of a good player is that you murder changelings as soon as you see them. Just know what they are at every point. Working on Graviton Catapult is Peppy. He's got his High Templar with Storm. How much energy you guys got? Decent amounts, about 50%. I'd say changing a couple of them into Archons. He feels like that's the way to go. Corruptors, ooh, that's a kind of a nice skin on the Corruptor. I like it. Maybe going to try to Caustic Spray down this 4th base location, which might work, except there are some carriers here with some Archons. Although they're moving away. You doing it? You're threatening like you're going to do it here, Neuro. I don't know. Adrenal Glands coming in for Neuro, upgrading the attack speed of those Zerglings. Making additional cannons at this 4th base. He does not want to lose that 4th base again, if at all possible. More Spine Crawlers coming up as well for Neuro. Again, static defense is not a weakness. I know pro players don't like it, but at your level, static defense can be the difference between winning and losing a game. Absolutely, for sure. For sure. All right, so Neuro is sitting at 186 army, making 4 Broodlords. He's got that Greater Spire done, had the Corruptors. The Corruptors were not used for Caustic Spray at all, but instead for the Broodlords and the Hydras. So Neuro's effectively maxed out and making additional Corruptors to make sure that happens. And working on +2 missile attack, +1 ground carapace. And actually, Neuro going for a 6th base. Down left gets canceled by some Zealots. So good job. Good job by Peppy making sure that does not go down. Mama Ship coming in too for the Protoss player. It is just about here as well. It's 114-second Warpin sitting at 80 seconds. Very close. Changelings coming in saying, what are we dealing with? The answer is Archon High Templar Carrier. The Broodlords are not going to be great in this situation. I'm just going to say it. Not going to be amazing here, but here's your engagement. Ladies and gentlemen, Storm on top of all of those Hydralisks. Amazing Storm carriers. Getting some shots off there too. Archons doing crazy stuff. Those Storms are just insane right now, but the Hydras are somehow persisting throughout the Psionic Storm, and the carriers are forced to retreat. Broodlings killing everything on the ground. Pulling back, trying to kite back here. It's 191 and 157 total supply. Attempting to expand behind it. Gets shut down by the Zerg army. Look at how injured these Hydras are, but they're not dead. They are not dead. Thank you very much. More carriers in production for Peppy, but this looks like a very strong push by these Broodlords. Immortals effectively useless against these dudes. The carriers need to focus down the Broodlords if they can. How many interceptors are available to them? 14 does not seem like a whole lot. Hydras just going to town on those interceptors, not even really worrying about focusing down the carriers themselves. Detection has been sniped. Neuro can't see this army for the most part, actually. This is working out for Peppy. Where is your detection? Where are your overseers at, Neuro? This is crazy stuff. The ground army, when they're visible, are getting wiped out here, but he needs to focus down these Broodlords. Is what he needs to do. Throw 2 overseers showing on up. That might be it for the Peppy. The mothership is being directly focused down by these Hydralisks. The Broodlords just killing everything on the ground as well. Another carrier showing on up. This battle has gone on for quite a bit. And I don't know. It's 139 to 114 total supply. Additional Hydras showing up. Additional overseers showing up as well. Mothership has 11 kills, mind you. She's doing pretty darn well for herself and pulling back to the safety of his 3rd base location, trying to abuse this high ground, but so many interceptors died. 113 interceptors have died. Zealots trying to do stuff, not happening, and that's a good game from Peppy. Just Neuro's consistent push here. 6 kills, 8 kills on the Broodlords. Hydras with +2 attack, continuing to make this thing happen. And Peppy, the Storms were good. The Storms were beautiful, but they weren't enough. They just weren't enough, and Neuro gets the win today. Woo! So let's take a look at the resources lost here. 309 Lings lost, 7 Broodlords, 88 Hydras. I mean, that translates to 31,000 resources lost for Neuro compared to 31,000 resources lost for Peppy. More gas lost, 38 probes too, which is not great. 4 carriers, 11 Immortals, 19 Archons. And I mean, again, I understand you need Immortals in case he goes Lurker. But those immortals just didn't pay for themselves. They didn't do enough. Nothing on the ground was anything they were good at attacking. They were bad against the hiders, the lings, the banelings, broodlings. None of those things are their way to go, and 11 of them died. I don't know, maybe additional storm would have helped. Maybe a couple additional carriers instead of immortals would have helped, but it's a tough spot. It is a tough, tough spot for Protoss to be in these days. All right, so that's going to be it from me. This has been Falcon Paladin coming to you with yet another daily Legacy of the Void upload. Go ahead and hit that like button. Hit that subscribe if you like what you saw and what you heard today. You can also catch me on Twitter, Facebook, and the Patreon, all at /Falcon Paladin. And until next time, as always, thank you so much for watching, and you take care of yourself.